Tonight, the man who found the body of a nonverbal boy surrounded by alligators, revealing new vivid details and never before seen video.
Which gives me chills just saying that, because it was just a horrible sight to see. You know, I just want to see things get better.
So WDSU investigates the death of Bryan Vasquez and how he fell through the cracks of the Department of Children and Family Services.
I mean, if we're not able to answer those questions, how should the public trust you, Secretary Harris?
WDSU investigator Aubrey Killian there holding those in power accountable to keep kids safe. A warning, the video and new details in the story are graphic and disturbing.
If heaven exists, he's absolutely there.
For the very first time,
I think about him every day, literally every single day.
John Sanders is walking us through the end of 12-year-old Bryan Vasquez's nightmare.
No one should see. No one should see what I saw.
We want to warn you, the images you will see are graphic. This Cajun Navy and drone pilot says these images from August of 2025 still haunt him. You're watching the final moments of a desperate and nearly 2-week search after Bryan escaped his home, his body spotted in a New Orleans East Lagoon, surrounded by gators.
He was over 15 feet. And then his cohort, the smaller alligator, he was probably 11 or 12 feet. To see his hair, like, and then we were there when they pulled him out. And that's, again, no kid or family should ever have to go through something like that.
And not long after, Cassandra says he was there when Bryan's mother, Hilda, was questioned by the Department of Children and Family Services. When DCFS was questioning Hilda, what was she like? You were there.
Broken.
Hilda is in jail following Bryan's death. Court records show Hilda was on DCFS's radar. Bryan's trauma and abuse dating back to 2013. Hilda arrested and Bryan returned to her. Abuse reports for Bryan and his siblings continued through 2025. A cocaine confession revealed.
What was the solution? Like, kids are just back in the home, and then something else happens, and then there's no solution again. And that's what needs to change.
And last year, in a WDSU investigation, DCFS Secretary Rebecca Harris promised change, better coordination with the courts, and tracking how many children are returned to parents convicted of abuse. For nearly 4 months, we've asked DCFS to go on camera. Multiple calls, 8 emails, no follow-up interview.
Please leave a message after the tone.
Do you have any questions that you can send us?
This month, I tracked Harris down in Baton Rouge. What's being done to keep kids safe?
I'll give you one statement on that. So years ago, Congress formed the Commission to Eliminate Child Fatalities as a result of abuse and neglect. And so the department has put together a reform package that aligns very closely to that. We'll be putting out additional information about that, but that's what you should expect to see as recommendations that came.
But when it comes to the plan to track kids returning to homes where they were abused, has that been implemented?
Yes, we're building dashboards within the department.
And is that today currently tracked and implemented? What does the data show for that?
So when we talked last time, I told you that all of that has to manually be gathered. And so as we're building out the dashboards, we're manually capturing that information, but it'll be a while before we actually have it available.
So it's not available as of now?
We have the dashboard built, but it's going to be manually captured.
To ensure that kids are not falling through the cracks, like how do you track that?
That workers are going into the homes?
Yes, ma'am.
Let me go to this other meeting.
But people want to know that that's happening, though.
They are. Thank you.
But I mean, if we're not able to answer those questions, how should the public trust you, Secretary Harris?
Bryan's a perfect example of the failures there. If it's not working, it needs to change. As a community, we need to do better and hold people accountable.
Cassandra says he hopes that happens by speaking up.
And I do that for Bryan, and I do it for my son, because again, no child should ever have to live through what he did.
Aubrey Killian, WDSU Investigates.
Governor Jeff Landry says he is focused on making sure that the safety of kids is a top priority. He said on social media that he had a productive meeting this week with DCFS Secretary Rebecca Harris, along with Senate President Cameron Henry and Senator Patrick McMath. He says he is focused on the best path forward to protect our kids.